I'm ready whenever, yep.
Okay, you ready? All right, good? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dennis Jones. I'm the Director of the Emergency Management Agency for Chatham County, and we are coming to you this afternoon to talk about some of the flooding challenges that we have seen over the last day or so, and also what we can anticipate over the next few days. So the Ogeechee River the Ogeechee River at Eden, it crested yesterday at 14.21 feet. It crested at 5:15 a.m. yesterday, so we did see some localized flooding along the Ogeechee River yesterday. It is slowly starting to recede. Right now, as of today, it's roughly around 13 feet, and we'll continue to see that decrease as we go throughout the next few days. As a comparison, it did crest during Hurricane Debbie at 17.97 feet. Again, the crest yesterday was 14.21 feet. So we are seeing that water recede, and those people along the Fort Argyle corridor along Ogeechee Road, they can start seeing some relief from some of the flooding in that particular area. Regarding the Ogeechee River at Kings Ferry or Richmond Hill, it did crest yesterday at 9:45 a.m. It crested at 6.86 feet. And it too is expected to slowly begin receding throughout the day and over the weekend. And as a comparison for the Kings Ferry / Richmond Hill gauge, it crested during Hurricane Debbie at 10.2 feet. And again, this morning, or yesterday, it was at 6.86 feet. So it too will start to recede just as the Ogeechee River up at the Eden gauge over the next several days. So along the Ogeechee River, the areas that we monitored for flooding: Fort Argyle Lane, Uncle Shed's Road, Middle Landing Road, Shad Road, Cape Fear, and also Big Cypress Drive, Kings Ferry Boat Ramp, and Chief of Love. So we did send staff out to Chief O.F. Love Road behind Love Seafood and also Kings Ferry yesterday, and have some images to display up here on the graphic behind me. So what you see here is some images from Kings Ferry. You see the flooding there at the boat ramp, also at the park, and over at Love Seafood. We've got some flooding around that particular area, and also Chief of Love, and going back to the Al Bungard Preserve Park that's back there. You see some of the images there. So we've also had some flooding along the Fort Pulaski and Highway 80 corridor. So we've seen some coastal flooding there. Yesterday, Thursday, on the 14th, at about 6:30 in the morning, we did have a high tide of about 10.25 feet. So Highway 80 was closed for a brief period of time yesterday. It was closed from 7:17 a.m. to 7:43 a.m. Because there was water encroachment across Highway 80. Burnside Island did experience flooding yesterday morning as well. Their flooding occurred after 7 a.m. I've got some images for the Burnside Island corridor. You'll see here, going out to Burnside Island, we had water encroachment early in the morning, going out to Burnside across the causeway. So regarding Burnside, again, we are expecting it to have some water encroachment over the next few days, similar to Highway 80 going out to Tybee. So yesterday morning, when we issued a road closure going out to Tybee, we did see again that tide of about 10.25 feet, which is important for what I'm about to tell you for Saturday's tide. So we are not expecting any significant flooding for this afternoon or tomorrow, early tomorrow. We're not expecting flooding. We didn't see any flooding this morning at 7 a.m. We're not expecting flooding for the 8 p.m. tide, which is expected to be 8.9 feet. But we are anticipating a higher than normal tide for tomorrow morning going out to Tybee. So tomorrow morning, the tide forecast is anticipated to be 10.5 feet. 10.5 feet, and that's at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That is considered a major flood stage, so we are anticipating some water encroachment across Highway 80 as well as the Burnside Causeway going out to Burnside Island and Tybee Island. So what's important to note is there are only 3 times in history since the Fort Pulaski tide gauge was installed in 1930 that we've actually seen a flood stage greater than 10.5 feet. And that was Hurricane Matthew in 2016. We saw a tide of 12.56 feet. Hurricane Irma in 2017, we saw a tide of 12.24 feet. And in October of 1947, we saw a tide of 10.86 feet. So we are reaching those historic levels because of the tide sequence associated with the moon and its orbit around the Earth. So again, tomorrow's forecast at 8 a.m. is 10.5 feet, and we do anticipate water encroachment across the road and possibly isolation issues going out to Burnside Island as well as Tybee Island. The forecast for the PM tide on Saturday is 8.8 feet, and the forecast for Sunday morning's tide is 10.1 feet, and we could also experience some water encroachment and some isolation issues during that time. So possible areas of coastal flooding, again, Tybee area, Highway 80 going out to, from Bull River going out to Tybee Island, Fort Pulaski entrance, Lazaretto Creek boat ramp, Catalina Drive, East Hammock Road, Pelican Drive, Campbell Avenue, Lewis Avenue, and 6th Street. On Wilmington Island, Walthour Road, Welch Street, and Betts Creek Road. Thunderbolt area, LaRoche Avenue between Saucy and Wiley Island. Sylvan Road, Marshside at Savannah State. And then, of course, Burnside Island, Shipyard Road, Hunt Drive, and Fox Squirrel Drive. So actions that SEMA has been taken, we have been in contact with the Georgia Department of Transportation, ensuring that they are ready to push any marsh rack along Highway 80 out of the roadway so we can get that road back open. We've also been communicating with all of our partners and our first responders to ensure that we are maximizing our coordination effort, and we've also been sending community messaging out. So some preparedness actions for our residents. Remember, never drive through flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown. Plan ahead. Those who are on the coast, if you need to travel this weekend, plan around those possible isolation times. At any time, an hour before or an hour after high tide, you could anticipate that water encroachment, as I mentioned. So challenges for those roadways typically occur 1 hour before, 1 hour after, so please adjust your timing to your travel time to coordinate with that. Leave early for necessary appointments. Bring items that you may need to prevent challenges if unable to return home for a long period of time. So those on Tybee Island, you should anticipate water encroachment and isolation issues on Highway 80 Saturday morning as well as possibly on Sunday morning. Same thing for those who live on Burnside. Again, Saturday morning or possibly Sunday morning. So that is all I have, and I'm open to any questions that you may have.
When is the earliest that you can make calls about possible road closures this weekend, especially Highway 80?
Road closures are actually made in real time, and that's done by our public safety professionals. So the police department, fire department, public works, they all have the authority to close a road if it becomes a public safety hazard. They will keep those roads open as long as possible, but when they do deem that it is a public safety hazard, then they will make the decision to close those roads. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.